So I saw a comment talking about this yesterday, and then in fact stumbled across this article discussing the exact same thing. And I think that's a huge sign that we need to have this discussion. Should you buy Shiba Inu instead of Bitcoin? There are some big differences between these two assets, but there are actually some striking similarities. And I do believe that one is going to perform substantially better than the other. I'm Luckside. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell. Again, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So first of all, big differences between Bitcoin and Shiba Inu. Bitcoin is a blockchain. Shiba Inu, ERC20 on the Ethereum blockchain. So very drastic differences in terms of functionality. Maturity of the assets, very different as well. Obviously, Bitcoin has been around for 16 years now. Shiba Inu has only been around for 4. So there's a big life cycle difference between the two of these as well. Bitcoin has institutional money, governments buying, things like that. Shiba Inu hasn't necessarily seen those things yet. And obviously, I think that's a huge opportunity. But this is where things get kind of interesting because Shib is already doing some things that Bitcoin does now. For example, when we look at optics throughout the world, right? Bitcoin tends to be number 1, Ethereum tends to be number 2, and Shiba Inu tends to be number 3. So already, despite being only a 4-year-old asset and being the 13th largest coin in all of crypto, number 11 because I don't count stables, it has optics of one of the top 3 coins in the space. That's a very big deal because when we get further on into this discussion about new money coming in, that's going to play a very big factor. What we also see too is this supply exchange or exchange supply, exchange supply, right? We see a very consistent theme in terms of Shiba Inu, and this is this removal of supply, this pull of liquidity. And this is the exact same thing that right now is taking place in terms of Bitcoin. So it's becoming harder and harder to accumulate these assets as time goes on because people are buying for the long term, okay? So there are very striking similarities between the two of these. Now, this is where things get a little interesting because Shiba Inu is only a $10 billion market cap versus Bitcoin being a $1.2 trillion market cap, I believe Shiba Inu is going to move a lot faster and perform a lot better. Now, this isn't a guarantee. This isn't financial advice or anything like that. And early on this market cycle, BTC has outperformed Shiba Inu. Bitcoin from its bottom to its price right now is up 302%. Shiba Inu from its bottom to its from the bottom of this cycle to where it's at now is actually up 200%. There was a period where Shiba Inu actually outperformed Bitcoin. Price was obviously significantly higher from here in terms of Shiba Inu. And the reason why that was is because new retail was flowing into the space. Sentiment was high. Optics were booming at that point. And we've now gone on this 7-month consolidation period where things haven't really been that great, but they're starting to improve. And what that means is as time improves and adoption picks up and we see the same thing play out again, it likely means that Shiba Inu is going to perform exceptionally well and outperform Bitcoin, right? And really what we all want in this space is performance. We want return on our money, right? Now, what I will say is that as we get deeper into this market cycle as well, there is something significant that takes place in terms of Bitcoin and the overall crypto market. And this is that am I on the right chart? Yeah. Is that BTC dominance falls off. All right. We see this big drop in terms of Bitcoin dominance over the market, and alts start performing a lot faster than what Bitcoin does. And that's alt season, right? Right now, BTC is broken out here, but we're waiting for basically this moment that we see time and time again where that Bitcoin dominance drops, where these alts move very, very quickly. Times where Shiba Inu is a better market performer. So early on this market cycle, its performance hasn't been that far off of BTC, but we're now moving into a time where it does better. All right. Now, what I will say is that Bitcoin is a more risk averse asset. All right. It's more stable. There's less volatility. And because of the size and amount of holders that there are out there, it's going to be less volatile. It's not going to move as quickly as Shiba Inu. But that also means both to the upside and the downside. Shiba Inu has obviously a lot more volatility. It can move more quickly to the downside, but it can also explode and move a lot faster, right? Shib can much more easily climb to a $100 billion market cap than Bitcoin can climb to a $12 trillion market cap. Hopefully that makes sense for people, right? Now, none of this is a guarantee. This isn't financial advice or anything like that. And me personally, I do not own any Bitcoin. I much prefer altcoins. I see a lot more room for technological advancement when it comes to altcoins. Retail optics, I believe, is higher when it comes to altcoins as a whole, right? And I think that will continue to increase over time. That's why we see Bitcoin dominance drop from cycle to cycle to cycle. And frankly, I think that retail, looking at the space, it's a lot more easily it's a lot more easy to buy into a coin that is 4017 than a coin that's $62,000. I'm not saying one's more accessible than the other or anything like that, because both of these are really accessible anywhere. But from a psychological standpoint, people are going to pay a lot more attention to something like this that they think has the potential to climb to a price like this, which we know is probably never going to happen, but it's something that people do in fact think about. And now that we're about to go through this point where we're going to climb from, 5% of the world to over 10% of the world in crypto, a lot of those new users, a lot of those retail holders that are getting in, they like cheap price. They like to be able to throw $100 in, $10 in, $1,000 in, whatever, and have the opportunity for huge returns. And frankly, it looks like Shiba Inu has a lot more potential for that the deeper we get into this market cycle. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you prefer to buy Bitcoin? Would you prefer to buy Shiba Inu? Have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.